Richard Pococke was an English prelate and anthropologist. He was the Bishop of Ossory and Meath, both dioceses of the Church of Ireland. However, he is best known for his travel writings and diaries. Biography. Pococke was born in Southampton and educated at Corpus Christi College, Oxford, receiving a Bachelor of Law degree. His father was the Reverend Richard Pococke and his mother was Elizabeth Mills, the daughter of Rev. Isaac Mills the younger, son of Rev. Isaac Mills. His parents were married on the 26th of April 1698. Pococke's uncle, Thomas Mills, was a professor of Greek. He was also distantly related to Edward Pococke, the English Orientalist and biblical scholar. Rev. Jeremiah II Mills was a first cousin. His family connections meant he advanced rapidly in the church, becoming Vicar General of the Diocese of Waterford and Lismore. Travels in Europe and the Near East. He seems to have spent far more time traveling than attending to his duties as a churchman, and from 1733 to 41 undertook 2 grand tours with his cousin, Jeremiah Mills. The first was to France and Italy, and the second was to the Low Countries, Germany, Austria, Poland and Hungary. Mills was recalled in 1737 to attend his uncle, the Bishop of Waterford and Lismore, leaving Pococke to continue his voyage to the east. Detailed accounts of their travels survive in a collection of letters written to Pococke's mother and the mutual uncle, the bishop, as well as in a number of notebooks. The earlier manuscripts, recently edited and published by Rachel Finnegan, include probably the most detailed description of Venice's marriage to the sea ceremony, as well as precious information on contemporary music, especially opera. From 1737 to 41 he visited the Near East, visiting Egypt, Palestine, Lebanon and Syria, Asia Minor, and Greece. These travels were later published in his Description of the East of 1743 and 1745, works which were praised by Edmund Gibbon. The complete collection of correspondence written to his mother from his eastern voyage is now in print, thus completing the publication of all his known travels. Among other things, he was one of the European travelers to give an account of the origins of the medieval Arabic document, the Act-in-Name of Muhammad, which claims that Muhammad had personally confirmed a grant of protection and other privileges to the monks of St. Catherine's Monastery in Egypt. Irish tour. During the years 1747 to 60, Pococke made a number of tours around various parts of Ireland. The longest of these tours occurred in 1752, when he travelled to just over half of Ireland's counties. He kept a record of this tour, but did not publish it. It ended up in the library of Trinity College, Dublin. Eventually, in 1891, an edited edition of Pococke's 1752 tour was published by George Thomas Stokes. Episcopal office and further travels. He was made bishop successively of Ossory, Elphin and of Meath in 1765. He spent many of his later years in travel throughout Britain and Ireland, publishing accounts of many of his journeys. He died of apoplexy during a visitation at Charleville Castle, near Tullamore, County Offaly, Ireland, in 1765. On his death, many of his manuscripts were given to the British Library. He was buried at Ardbrackan, County Meath, Ireland. Works by Richard Pococke, an Internet Archive, A Description of the East and Some Other Countries, Volume I. Observations on Egypt, W. Boyer, London, 1743. A Description of the East and Some Other Countries, Volume 2. W. Boyer, London, 1745. Divided into 2 parts. Part 1. Observations on Palestine, the Holy Land, Syria, Mesopotamia, Cyprus, and Candia. Part 2. Observations on the islands of the archipelago, Asia Minor, Thrace, Greece, and some other parts of Europe. tours in Scotland, 1747, 1750, 1760, Edinburgh University Press, Edinburgh 1887. The Travels Through England of Dr. Richard Pococke, successively Bishop of Meath and of Ossory, during 1750, 1751, and later years. Mrs. Elizabeth Montagu's description, in a letter to Mrs. Donnellan dated Sandalford, 30 December, 1750, Mrs. Montagu wrote, "We have a loss in not having Dr. Pococke here this Christmas, as we expected. The conversation of a man of letters, and a traveller, is very agreeable in the country. Now I am out of the sphere of attraction of the great city of London. I am as well pleased to hear of some custom at Constantinople as of a new fashion in London, and the Nile is as much my thought as the Thames.